A incites B to kill C by uttering the words Maro, Maro. Simultaneously, D puts knife onto B's hand. B grabs the knife and does accordingly. Here, who should be charged for abetting? Today, let us learn the law of abetment. We shall cover the meaning and essentials of abetment, the types of abetment, all prescribed under Section 107 IPC. Welcome to Law Cities, the mini law lecture series. First, the answer to last week's problem to ponder. The facts say that he had not taken an active part in the crime conspired. But will that absolve his liability? Section 120A clearly says that the offense of conspiracy is complete once the agreement for the illegal act is formed. It is immaterial whether the act conspired was put in effect. So he could definitely be charged for conspiracy. Getting on to today's topic, abetment. Crime commissions can be divided into two: crimes committed by just one person and crime committed by persons in collaboration. In the second category, crimes, more than one person is involved, although all may not be participating directly in the crime commissions. The persons involved may aid, assist, help, or facilitate in the commission of the crime. Abetment is one such crime committed in collaboration. Abetment popularly means to instigate or aid a person in the commission of an offense. And the legal meaning of abetment you find in Section 107 of the Indian Penal Code. Section 107 IPC defines what an abetment is. It also provides for 3 types of abetment along with 2 explanations. The 3 types of abetment as provided under Section 107 IPC are abetment by instigation, abetment by conspiracy, and abetment by intentional aid. Now let us learn each of these types of abetment in detail. Starting with the first form of abetment, abetment by instigation. Law does not require instigation to be in a particular form. Literally, it means to provoke, incite, or urge to do anything. As a matter of fact, the scope and ambit of instigation is getting widened by the judicial pronouncements coming from this area. In Protima Datta versus State of West Bengal, it was held that a person instigates another when he urges or provokes or incites the person to do an act prohibited by law. And when a person actively suggests, stimulates, or supports or hints the commission of an offense, then he is said to instigate the offense, as was held in Nasir Ahmed versus Emperor. In Muthumal's case, it was held that mere association of the accused and the perpetrator will not form an abetment unless it is proved that he instigated or had intention in aiding the commission of the offense. And the court, while deciding the culpability of the silent spectators in and around the scene of occurrence, it was held that a person who is a silent spectator, who is not taking an active part in the commission of the offense, will not be an abettor, and it will not be falling under the purview of abetment by instigation, as was ruled in Trilogen versus Karnal. Yet another form of abetment by instigation is provided in Explanation 1 to Section 107 IPC. If a person willfully misrepresents or willfully conceals a material fact, and he voluntarily causes or attempts to cause the thing to be done, then it is abetment by instigation as per the explanation. Here, willful concealment of a material fact refers to the case wherein the person is obliged or he is duty bound to disclose the fact, but he remains quiet. By virtue of explanation 1, it is abetment by instigation. The illustration provided to the explanation clarifies the concept better. A public officer is authorized by a warrant from a court of justice to apprehend Z. B, knowing that fact and also that C is not Z, willfully misrepresents to the officer that C is Z and thereby intentionally causes A to apprehend C. Here, B abets by instigation the apprehension of C. Here, B very well knew that C is not Z, and he knew that the person who is seeking for Z is a public officer who is authorized by law. But still, he misrepresented it. So, it is abetment by instigation as per the explanation. Now on to the second form of abetment by conspiracy. When a person engages with one or more persons in conspiracy and does some act or illegal omission in pursuance of that conspiracy, then it is abetment by conspiracy. We have already covered what conspiracy is in our previous lecture. So along with that conspiracy, along with the offense of conspiracy, when some act or illegal omission is done in pursuance, then it is abetment by conspiracy, which means a person who is initially guilty of the offense of conspiracy can be made guilty of abetment also once he does some act or illegal omission towards the commission of the offense as per the agreement. The prosecution is just required to prove the act or illegal omission in order to incur liability under this provision. Now let us find out the difference between the offense of abetment by conspiracy and the offense of conspiracy. In Pramadanath Talukdar versus Saroj Ranjan Sarkar, the Supreme Court has clearly distinguished the difference between the offences of conspiracy and abetment by conspiracy. Mere agreement is a gist of the offence of conspiracy which is prescribed under Section 120A of the IPC, whereas in abetment by conspiracy, mere agreement is not enough. An act or illegal omission must take place in order to incur liability under this section 107 clause 2 of the IPC, which means the offense of conspiracy is wider in amplitude than abetment by conspiracy. So far we have learned what abetment by instigation is and what abetment by conspiracy is. Now let us move on to the third form of abetment, which is abetment by intentional aid. Let us learn them in detail. The third form of abetment, which is abetment by intentional aiding, has three components in it, which is by virtue of section 107 clause 3 read with explanation 2 to section 107 IPC. The three components are: when a person does any act directly assisting the crime commission, it is abetment by intentional aiding. If a person illegally omits something which he is bound to do, that is also abetment by intentional aiding. This we get from the third clause of section 107 IPC. Now the third component of abetment by intentional aiding is derived from the explanation 2 to section 107 IPC, which says doing an act prior to or at the time of commission of the offence, facilitating its commission, is abetment by intentional aiding. Now let us see each of these components specifically. The first kind of abetment by intentional aiding is by doing an act assisting in the commission of the crime. Law says that the act must be done with the intent to aid the commission of the offence, which means active complicity is required in effecting the crime in order to attach liability under this part of the provision. Mere presence of a person at the commission of the crime does not amount to intentional aid. In order to incur liability, it must be proved that through his presence, he had intended to have the effect. Let us consider this example. A servant kept open the gate of his master's house and invited the thieves to enter. See, here by his conduct, he had encouraged the thieves to commit theft. So, it is by his act that he had intentionally aided the commission of theft, and therefore it is abetment by intentional aid, and therefore the charge of abetment against the servant will succeed. Moving on to the second class of abetment by intentional aiding, which is by illegal omission. When a person is legally bound to do a thing, but he deliberately refrains from doing that, then it is abetment by illegal omission. So the requirements are: the offense committed was because of non-interference or because of omission, and this person concerned was legally bound to do, and it was because of his breach of legal duty that the offense was committed. Then it is abetment by intentional aiding because it falls under the category of illegal omission provided under the third clause of section 107 IPC. Let us analyze this example. A head constable, perceiving that his subordinates were about to torture a prisoner, purposely left the place. See here, the head constable owes a legal duty towards the prisoner, but he purposely left the place. He had breached his legal duty of taking care of the prisoner and thus allowed or let his subordinates to torture the prisoner. So he would be guilty for abetment by intentional aiding. Clear? Moving further on to the third class of abetment by intentional aiding, which is by facilitating the crime commission. This is provided under explanation 2 to section 107 IPC. If a person assists or supplies a thing to the perpetrator of a crime, either before or during the commission of the crime, then it is facilitating the crime commission, which would be falling under the purview of abetment by intentional aiding by virtue of explanation 2 to section 107 IPC. Now let us consider this example. Bidu was supervising some laborers. Meanwhile, he got into a quarrel. He then shouted, if he had a weapon, would have killed the laborer there. Ishan Miya, who was standing nearby, handed over a dao to the former, who severely injured the coolie. Ishan Miya was held guilty of abetment by intentional aiding. It was because he had facilitated the crime commission by providing or supplying the knife during the quarrel. I hope it is clear to you now. Now let us summarize the law of abetment in India, which is provided under section 107 IPC. It stipulates three modes of abetment, which are abetment by instigation, abetment by conspiracy, and abetment by intentional aid. Abetment by instigation includes inciting, urging, soliciting, provoking the commission of the offense, whereas abetment by conspiracy is engaging in conspiracy along with acts or illegal omissions done in pursuance to the conspiracy. And the third mode of abetment, which is abetment by intentional aid, includes an act, an illegal omission, or an act facilitating the commission of the crime. And now on to the activity session. First problem. A tells B, I'm gonna kill C. And B replies, do as you wish and take the consequences. Whereupon A kills C. Could B be charged for abetment to murder? Here the only possible type of abetment is abetment by instigation, isn't it? B did not actively dissuade A. But will that amount to instigation? Law says such passive or unresponsive approvals are not necessarily instigations, and hence it is not abetment. Hence, B could not be charged for abetment to murder. The second problem. The members of the funeral procession of a widow's husband uploaded her resolve of immolating herself in the funeral pyre of her husband by shouting, Sati Mata Ki Jai. Will the members of the procession be charged for abetment to suicide? It is to be noted that the members of the procession were not mere silent spectators. They were actively involved in encouraging the lady to commit suicide, isn't it? The slogans happened to be their approval of the lady's act, and hence they had instigated her to commit sati. So they could be very well charged for abetment to commit suicide. The third problem. A mother-in-law was charged for abetting her daughter-in-law to commit suicide by instigating her. Although the evidence suggests that the former had made the deceased suffer mentally, it was the former's defense that she did not incite or provoke the latter to commit suicide. whether the charge of abetment would lie against the mother-in-law here. See, law does not require instigation to be in a particular form. It can be by words, it can be by conduct, it can be by direct or any indirect expressions also. So, although express solicitation is absent, the conduct or indirect expressions could reveal instigation. Therefore, the mother in law's contention that she did not incite or provoke will not stand. So, the charge of abetment would succeed in this case. And back to the opening question. A incites B to kill C by uttering the words Maro, Maro. Simultaneously, D puts knife onto B's hand. B grabs the knife and does accordingly. Here, who should be charged for abetting? This is an instance wherein there are two kinds of abetment coming into action. Abetment by instigation and abetment by intentional aid. When A is inciting B by shouting out Maro Maro, he is abetting by instigation. And when D is putting knife onto B's hand, D is facilitating the crime commission and therefore D is abetting by intentionally aiding the commission of the offense of murder. So both A and D could be charged for abetting. That's all we have in today's video. In the next video, we shall continue with the law of abetment, wherein we'll be covering section 108 IPC, which deals with abettor. There we shall learn how the scope and ambit of abetment is expanded by the 5 explanatory clauses provided in section 108. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Till we meet next, bye-bye.